What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below, but if you are new here, please consider hitting the like, the subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it all really helps out our channel. And as always, a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time out of your day to be here, being involved with the channel. Taking 20 minutes of your day is absolutely insane. So thank you so much for doing you. And don't forget to let me know what you were doing today whilst listening. I love to hear it. It's one of my favorite things about the channel. And let's just crack on with today's stories. And our first story comes from Why Do I Still Love You? Am I the arsehole for giving my husband a taste of his own medicine and buying him a generic gift for his birthday? Okay, so here's the deal. Every time a celebration comes up, whether it be my husband's birthday, Valentine's Day, Christmas, Easter, you get the gist, I always try to go above and beyond and get my husband a meaningful gift. It's usually something particular to do with his hobbies, items from a clothing brand he likes, useful gifts, games I know he wants. I always put a load of thought into the gifts and the packaging, etc. In return, for example, on my birthday, I got a card and a candle set. I have migraines, anything scented is a no-go, and for Christmas, I didn't even get a card, just a second-hand mini Hoover, that I had to buy the plug and filter myself, mind you. I do not expect the world from him, and I've told him if he struggles with gift ideas to just ask me, or get me a card and some flowers, but he never listens. This has been going on for years, and every time his birthday or any other holiday comes up, I ensure to give him really personalised gifts. Yet, I always receive very random things that I just have no use for. We've had so many conversations about this, but he hasn't changed at all. So this year I was upset because I subconsciously had so many awesome gift ideas planned out for him, but I thought back to last time he gifted me that second-hand, half put together mini Hoover and thought, hey, if he doesn't want to put in the effort, why should I? So I got him new underwear and socks, which he actually needed, lol, and a card and flowers. When I gave him the gifts, he looked so disappointed. He asked if he'd get a second half after dinner, and I said no, these are your gifts. He got very sulky and snappy with me afterwards. I think I definitely soured the evening with that. He didn't call me an arsehole straight up, but did say I wasn't nice for putting in much effort like I usually do. I told him this is about as much effort as he puts in for me, every single holiday. He got mad and left to go up to the bedroom, where he still is now. So, am I the arsehole for showing the same amount of effort and giving my husband such generic gifts? When you got to the bit where it said, I gave him gifts, underwear and socks, and then you said he actually needed them, so they were thoughtful gifts in the end. I'm always happy with underwear and socks, let me tell you. And let's face it, the only reason he walked off at the end there is because he knew you were right in the situation. He knew you that he's been buying you absolute shit all this time, and now he's got a little taste of his own medicine, although I still say that socks and pants are still, they're spot on. I'd be well happy with that. But Vort for Naught says, not the arsehole, and quotes, I told him this is about as much effort as he puts in for me every single holiday. He got mad and left to go to the bedroom, and then says, he's mad because you're right, and he left because he has no way of justifying his lack of consideration or effort. You've talked to him about this before, told him to ask you for gift ideas or just give you flowers, and he simply hasn't bothered. But with the complete lack of care he shows you, he feels entirely entitled to you going above and beyond for him. He's an arsehole and he needs to change. And Kim Smolt says, not the arsehole, and all of these stories that get posted of extremely thoughtless, lazy and or disappointing husbands are way too common. And Vegetable Soft says, not the arsehole, if your husband had simply accepted the gift and not berated you for not being thoughtful enough, I would have said no one's an arsehole here. However, the fact that he feels entitled to spectacular gifts while giving you completely thoughtless gifts shows a level of entitlement and greed that would appropriately characterize him as the arsehole. And Kitsune Cat says, not the arsehole, it's not about the Hoover, it was never about the Hoover. It was when he came back as well and said, is the second half going to be after dinner, you cheeky bastard? And Vava Mama says, not the arsehole, are we married to the same guy? After my husband ignored my birthday, I created Vava's birthday club and sent myself an extravagant gift each month for a year. He noticed after a few months and commented, so I explained the concept. After the first year there was no need and the club was disbanded. Well done to you. And now what do you think of this story? What would you do in this situation? Although I'm still like really happy with the socks and the pants, to be quite honest. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And our next story comes from And Julie said, am I the arsehole for not selling my designer clothes to pitch in for my sister's medical treatment when she won't sell her hobby items either? I've always enjoyed having nice clothes. I don't get obsessed about things must be X label, but if I have the money to splurge on a classic dress from a reputable designer, I'll buy it. My sister is more into collecting hobby items like video games, comic books, paperbacks, etc. She has a lot of those little funky pops, etc. I love her apartment. It's filled with so many things, like a flea market of geekdom. 8 months ago, she had a medical issue that required a lot of extra attention and work. We all banded together to support her, but she ended up racking up a lot of medical debt and much worse, nearly died. She's slowly recovering but will need more care. 4 weeks ago, she let me know that she'd be able to handle her medical debt slowly over time, but said that she was hoping I could help. I told her that I'd definitely help. Then she said that her idea was that we could host a fire sale of my designer clothes and other things and probably cut down a huge chunk of debt. I didn't realise she was being serious, but she was. There are a few things that were in the queue to be resold to make room for new items anyway, and I already planned to split some of that money 70-30 between new items and giving them to her. I'm usually good at estimating what I can get for my clothes, and I was going to have around $7,000 to give. She was hurt and told me that she's my sister, they're just clothes. I asked her then, is she doing the same with her figurines and stuffed toys, comic books, etc.? She got on my case about how she's sick, she's feeling bad, and I'm expecting her to part with things that make her happy. I told her that no, I don't expect her to, but she can't expect me to just sell my clothes either. She argued that I have more than enough and that I spent thousands of dollars a year, which is true, but not in the way she thinks. I'd maybe start with $5,000, new money cap, but end up selling $9,000 worth of items, so the amount is closer to $14,000. Anyways, moving on, she got our mum and dad and brother involved, and they're all pushing me to contribute more, saying I definitely don't need new clothes. I'm not arguing that I do, and like I said, I was planning on giving her money anyway, but she's not even willing to put up her own items into this, and to me, that sends a bad message. I feel for my sister, but if she isn't even willing to help herself in this situation, I don't think I'm wrong to dump all of my clothes for her. Am I the arsehole? Now, I feel really bad for sister in this situation, the fact that she nearly died and she's obviously going through some real serious stuff right now. But I think even if I was in that situation, obviously I can't truly be into it because, you know, I've never nearly died before. I don't think anyway. But I still can't see myself pushing a family member into selling some of their personal items for my benefit. I just can't see myself doing that. And especially when I have stuff myself that I might be able to sell in the meantime. Hobby type stuff. So I do think that is pretty entitled, and also your family is hugely entitled for jumping on the bandwagon on this and not seeing your point of view at all. And you're offering $7,000, that's a huge amount of money to be offering someone. So absolutely not the arsehole in this situation, and I can't believe your family are pushing you down this road either. But Eternal Judgment says not the arsehole. I've noticed people tend to push others to sell things that have no value or interest to them. As in they can't understand that designer clothes to you are the same as Funko Pops to them. And Vegetable Soft says not the arsehole. I think your sister was pushier than she should have been about this. But the real arsehole is the medical system that leaves ill people with astronomical bills. You are not required to give money or sell things to pay for this debt and shouldn't be guilted into that. Yeah, and that is absolutely true. We know about the medical system. I'm not going to go down that path again because I usually get jumped on about UK versus US medical system. It's not an argument I want again. But Nene says, not the arsehole. She isn't willing to sell her stuff. Why should you sell your stuff? And Terra Farmer says, this is her debt. I'm really glad that she didn't die, but before people beg for money, shouldn't they do everything they can to cover the debt themselves? You are being more than generous, giving her thousands of dollars. You should be grateful instead of demanding, and your parents as well. And Peanut Buttercup says, not the arsehole. Didn't you offer about $7,000 in clothes? That's quite a lot. I know it probably doesn't dent the medical bills, but it's a lot. I don't know which pop vinyls your sister has, but most of them aren't worth a lot of money. And Clarice says, not the arsehole, $7,000 is a generous enough donation. I've known people with medical debt. I've never heard of any of them treat ordering people to sell their clothes as a possibility to cover payment. This is a ridiculous, non-viable idea. Why not ask our parents to sell their house or neighbours to sell one of their cars? You sell your own stuff to pay off debt, not others. And wondering which cat with a bit of advice saying, "Hi there, make sure your sister has applied for charity care. Call the number on the back of the hospital bill and tell them you cannot pay all these bills and you would like to apply for any type of charity care and financial aid available through the hospital. The hospital will send an application and your sister must fill it out and send back. Once the app is approved, the debt will be reduced or eliminated. By helping with those applications, it reduces the bill and thus you have contributed to a nonsense request." Now, I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation and how would you deal with it? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story comes from Throwaway Puppy Master. Am I the arsehole if I tell my wife I don't want to have kids because I don't think she can look after them well? I've, 32 male, been married to my wife, 29 female, for about 7 years. We've discussed having kids before, but we always said to wait a couple of years until our careers were more stable. We've been enjoying our child-free lives for about a year. Back we decided things were going pretty well for us and thought it's about time we had our baby. Working from home also frees up a lot of time for extracurricular activities. We haven't had any luck so far, but we're having the when it happens mentality, so we're not rushing anything. Sometime around October last year, wife suggested that we get a puppy. We're both animal lovers and we thought it would be great since both of us would be at home and could watch over and house train it. We got the puppy and we both love him dearly, but ever since we got him, I've had to bathe, feed and clean up after him. Don't get me wrong, she helps out as well, but I'd say it's a split between 90 to 10% ratio. It gets extremely tiring after a while, and sometimes I just want to kick my feet up and have a nice beer and watch TV without being interrupted with, "Hey, the puppy just peed, can you come clean it up?" It carried on for a couple of months, and a couple of nights ago, after a long Zoom session for work, I exploded and told her she needs to do her share of looking after the puppy, and I'm tired of being the one who does all the work. She told me I was being calculative and trying to undermine her. I told her that it's clear that I've been doing all the dirty work, and all she wants to do is play with the puppy. This is where I might have gone too far. I told her if I can't trust her to look after a puppy, how can I trust her to look after a baby? If we had a baby, I won't be able to take the cleaning up after him all the time, and she had to do her share as well. If she was going to act the same way, I would rather not have a kid. She screamed at me, burst into tears and left the house. She's been staying at her parents for a few days now, but things don't really seem to be improving. Her parents are telling me it was a horrible thing to say, as looking after a puppy is not the same as a baby, and that she would make a great mum, and that I should come over and apologise to make things right. Personally, I feel like it was harsh, yet I had to make a stand. I wouldn't know what to do if a baby comes along and she continues acting the same way. So Reddit, am I the arsehole for the way I acted? And we're going to start off with my guy on this one saying, coming from someone who does have kids, not the arsehole. Her response is typical of someone who lacks insight and objectivity. Yes, a dog and a child are not the same, but people who act this way often carry it into parenthood. If you ask me, you dodged a bullet there. Do not reproduce with this person if you want any equality in this relationship. A Noble Nobbler says, she screamed and burst into tears because you were 100% right. Maybe you were the arsehole, but that doesn't mean you were wrong. And Tight Little Lucy says, not the arsehole, yeah, it was a harsh thing to say, and in the future you need to talk about this sort of stuff rather than holding it until you explode. But your logic isn't exactly off the mark. A puppy is a hell of a lot easier to care for than a human. So if she's doing close to nothing and relying completely on you, and you may not have the time to do the same for a child, then I'll just reiterate what I started with. Then you should communicate these things earlier to avoid a blow up situation. And Rye Dread says, not the arsehole, is true. Looking after a puppy is nothing like looking after a baby. Looking after a baby is so much more demanding and difficult, and it's insane to want to have one if this is how she's raising a puppy. And Polite Pineapple says, not the arsehole. Why do her parents believe that she would make a great mum when she has a living, breathing creature in her care that she's not taking care of? I've had dogs and I now have children. If she can't deal with a puppy going potty on the floor, then she can't deal with a baby. My 2-month-old has had a poo explosion 3 times today. And we will leave it on that one. What do you guys think of this situation? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story comes from Resident Climate. Am I the arsehole? Told my boss his feelings are for therapy. I was assigned 3 projects at work, 2 I love and 1 I hate. I told management I would support the hated project as long as I kept the other 2. They agreed as this aligned with my development plan, which they approved. The 2 are how I want to develop, the 3rd is not. The company has an immense amount of work that needs to be done, but not enough employees to do it. This has led my organisation to eliminate certain projects from the portfolio. My 2 projects were eliminated. When I say eliminated, I mean transferred to a sister department. They were not cancelled. This decision was not made because I was too busy. I'm not at capacity to support all 3 projects, but not because they didn't want to give me a second resource to support it. 2 resources are needed per project. The sister group has the needed secondary resource. The dumbest thing about this decision is that we are constantly told by management that we are all one group. Yes, there are some differences. Think I support dark chocolate and they support milk chocolate, but we all support the same thing, chocolate. The 2 projects are projected to complete this year. I spent the last 2 to 3 years working on the development and was looking forward to completion. But now I have to transfer to someone who hasn't done jack, and it will take it across the finish line and reap all the benefits. These projects are complex compared to the rest of the portfolio, so these would have guaranteed a promotion for me as well as give me a blockbuster resume. This elimination decision was made behind my back. I was informed after they discussed with the persons I'm transferring them to. They cut me out as they knew I would not willingly transfer. Had I been involved in the decision, I would have suggested that since we are all one group, I could have still led the work and worked with a secondary from the other department to finish the project. With the finish line months away, it makes more sense to not disrupt the entire team last minute. This would solidify the one group vision they are pushing and be a great example for the entire department. But that didn't happen, so I'm left with a project I hate and now get to watch 2 people take victory for my hard work. During the first one-on-one with my manager after all this happened, I knew this would get brought up. So when he started trying to explain the rationale, I almost verbatim said no further explanation is needed and that I respectfully don't want to discuss it anymore, especially since these are no longer within my assignments. He pushed again saying, well, I feel an explanation, but I cut him off and said that his feelings are for therapy, and I'd rather use my one-on-one time to discuss the projects I'm assigned as well as my career development. You know, I came into this one thinking like it might be an everyone sucks here simply for the work, for the company for doing what they're doing, and OP the way they're talking, they don't sound very much like a part of the team at all. They sound very much want to push their career above everything else and stomp on whoever's below them. And I know that's a lot of workplaces these days, but still doesn't make it right. But I think it might go from an everyone sucks here to a you're the arsehole for me, simply for the fact the way you was in this meeting. It sounded like the boss was about to explain the situation. It may be in a shit excuse, we don't know, because we didn't get that far, but you cut him off and it sounded like you were just being bloody rude to him. And I'm surprised you didn't get a disciplinary for that in itself. So I'm going to go with a you're the arsehole in this one, just for that. But goodness gracious, says you're the arsehole, you're lucky you still have a job. I just fired an employee for making a comment about mental health. I'm seeing why they removed these projects from you. You're not a team player at all. You only want to be in a team when it benefits you and your promotion. It makes perfect sense that you're not aligned with what they want, and your therapy comment seals the deal for me. Best of luck. And friggin' Taurus says, you're the arsehole. While I understand your frustration, the way you handle it makes you seem difficult to work with. Companies make unilateral decisions all the time and have no reason to involve everyone in the decision-making process. Obviously, they felt moving the work was the best option. There's probably a lot going on that you aren't privy to. It might be a good idea to respectfully address how you talk to your boss, apologise, and then move on professionally. And Bitter Nerdette says, you want him to leave his feelings in therapy, but you're stuck with a project that you hate. Forgive me, but isn't hate a feeling too? You wouldn't be willing to transfer groups. Again, feelings before professionalism. You are overly defensive and unprofessional and very unhappy that they won't let you run roughshod to advance your career and take over 3 projects that they obviously don't want you running. I'd suggest for the career in the future you learn how to cope with negative feedback, as it seems to be a skill you are lacking right now. You're the arsehole. And Reddit Martina says, whoa, arsehole, you don't speak to people that way. Wildly out of line here for what you said, not for how you feel. And Riversong777 says, everyone sucks. They should have involved you in their decision, but it was still unprofessional of you to talk to him like that. 2 wrongs don't make a right. That being said, the whole thing sucked, and I completely understand your frustration. It just wasn't the best move considering career option to be so blunt. And Classic In-Law Issue says, you're the arsehole. That was completely inappropriate and emotional response from you. You could have used the time to explain your ideal solution would be. You leading and the secondary helping, but instead you responded emotionally and out of anger. It seems like they made the right decision here. Now, I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation? Let me know in the comments below. Now, once again, guys, thank you for being here today. Thank you for taking the time out of your days to be here. Absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for taking the time to support the channel. It means the absolute world to me. And don't forget, there is playlists that you can also watch. They will be at the very end of the video. They will pop up. You can click on 300 plus videos for you to get involved with and just binge listen to. Why the hell not, right? Have a little binge. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love, and have a great day now. Bye-bye.
Boxes are defeating, purpose always fleeting. I pose questions to the ceiling like an answer gonna come. Truth is too revealing, life is easier concealing. All emotions to the start on your heart going dumb. I should be in drive more, I just wanna feel